everybody, Kim Dickerson here with Hometown Realty Group, bringing you another Market Minute. And I have a lender with me today, Samantha Archibald from Top Flight. And we are covering questions today. We see y'all have a lot of questions about buying a house. So she is going to answer them. So are you ready?
I sure am.
Okay. So the first one of the most searched questions we have here is, what does my credit score need to be to get a home loan?
So, a lot of people think that they have to have a 700 credit score. I have financed somebody with a 540.
540?
540.
Wow.
Yes. It wasn't easy. And they had to put a substantial down payment down, but it was possible. But I would say majority of people, like an average, I see 620 to 650.
Okay. Now, is the credit score that you see the same as what they might see on Credit Karma, or is it a little
It's always a little different. I'd say never. It's
different?
never the same. Credit Karma, I feel like it works off of emotions and it wants you to like see what you want to see. It's never right. Sometimes it's close, but it's never right.
Okay. Kind of
And
like the Z estimate or Zestimate on Zillow for us
exactly,
realtors.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, but when the new buyer calls you and you can pull their credit amongst other things,
Yes.
what other things are you looking at to qualify them to buy a house?
So we're looking for a couple of other things. We look at your liabilities, which is just a fancy word of what other bills do you have out there. And I'm not including utilities, your cell phone bill, your internet, just things that are showing up on your credit. So if you have a student loan, if you have a credit card, if you have a car payment, those are things that we have to account for when we're pre-qualifying somebody for a house.
Perfect. Now, you say pre-qualifying, but another question that we get often is, what is the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval for a mortgage?
So a pre-qualification is something that I would never recommend to anybody. It's like reading the book and never opening the book. That's like that, yeah,
Okay.
saying you read it, but you really didn't. You just looked at the outside of it. And that's what a pre-qualification is. I pulled your credit, but I didn't make sure that you actually made that type of money. I just plugged those numbers in. And if that's not true, when you go to get under contract for a house, and then I look at your numbers and I'm like, oh, they really don't make this amount of money. You don't qualify. So that pre qualification wasn't very good.
So it's better to get the pre-approval.
Pre-approval always. That means somebody has looked at everything. We've looked at your income. We've looked at all your liabilities. Everything's been looked by a human, and those numbers are going to stick unless you change your job or add more debt.
Okay, so do you always
Yeah.
do the pre-approval up front, you personally, or?
Yes, I always do the pre-approval up front. And in our world, we like to do the pre-approval before people go shopping for homes. If you don't, that can cause a lot of heartbreak. I know personally, I went and looked at houses that I didn't realize I couldn't afford, or maybe I wasn't pre-approved for, and I
Uh-huh.
fall in love, and then you have to hear like the bad news. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tom and I have done another video about that. It is
yeah,
important, very important to get your pre-approval up front before we actually go shopping.
yes.
Um, so, okay, so you have the buyers do an application and actually get their income and all the things so that it's a pretty solid yes before we actually put an offer in on something.
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect.
I want to give them their best shot at getting the house once they put their offer in versus just kind of, I guess, winging it. Like I want them
Yeah.
to know I'm serious and they're serious, and it's a big step for somebody to buy a house. So
It is. It is. And a big disappointment if they can't. I know I've had
yes,
clients who have lost it in the middle of the transaction or at the very end, which is the worst possible thing.
hmm,
It's heartbreaking for everyone. So,
it really is.
yeah.
And then if you've spent money, like say you've had the appraisal done and you've had a home inspection done, you could be out $1,000, and that's a lot of money.
Right.
So
Speaking of money, another question is, how much money do I need to buy a house?
that's a good question, because a lot of people think that they need 20 or $30,000 sitting in their bank, but that's not reality. Like I don't know the percentage of people that have that sitting in their bank right now. It's not high because honestly, the economy, things are a little spendy, and so we're surviving and we're using our funds to purchase everyday things. So I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that they don't have to have a huge chunk of change. I just had somebody close a home where we gave them $500 back,
That's
which
amazing.
it was so amazing. They had
That's
$0 down payment, and then the sellers of the property paid their closing costs.
okay.
They got their appraisal fee back, so it didn't really cost them
That's
anything.
incredible.
It really was. But if you were to go rent a house or rent an apartment, how much would you be out? At least $2,000, $3,000.
Right.
So
Huh.
I
So
think
they're
that
homeowners for less.
they're homeowners for less. So you can get into a house for less than $1,000.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay, so you mentioned closing costs just now. Um, we have buyers wanting to know what are closing costs exactly and how much are they?
that's a really good question. Typically, closing costs, I like to estimate anywhere between usually 4 to 5%. I do tend to personally estimate high just to cover everything for any repairs that need to be done or any last minute invoices that come in. But your closing costs include your prepaids. And I honestly didn't know what a prepaid was until I became a lender. A prepaid would be your taxes and your insurance, things that like we can't change. We have to pay 12 months in advance for your homeowner's insurance. That way the bank knows that that property is covered for a year. So those are things we can't change. You'll also see on there anything that like I've paid from my company, like your credit report that we talked about.
Hmm.
We don't make money on that. We just charge you, like if we get charged $100, you get charged $100. Your appraisals on there, any fees that your lender charges and your title company charges. There's
Hmm.
fees for doing the deed, there's fees for processing the loan,
Taxes.
taxes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Okay.
we're really transparent. We like to show everybody line by line. It kind of gets a little boring, but it's really good to be informed.
Important. So 4 to 5% for closing costs, and this is in addition to the down payment, if there is a down payment and you're not on
Correct.
one of those amazing no down payments.
Yes.
And what if they don't have the 4 to 5%?
So if they don't have the 4 to 5%, I recommend, and I'll tell their agent, hey, it would be really beneficial for this client to find somebody who's willing to pay their closing costs.
Meaning the seller, they
This
can get
seller.
it from the seller.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
And I would say 9 times out of 10 in the last 2 years, the seller's been more than happy to pay
right.
those costs.
So at the end of the day, the seller's most concerned with their bottom line, however that falls.
Correct.
So we just kind of play with the offer price a little
Hmm.
bit to make it fair for everyone. That makes sense.
Yes. And
Okay. Now, just a couple of more questions. Most asked questions for people looking at buying a house. Is now a good time?
I actually love that question. It's kind of like when somebody says, when do you think you're going to have a baby? I'm going to wait for the best time. Well, who can predict that?
Right.
There's never going to be like a perfect ideal time because life happen, things get in the way. I like to tell people it's the best time when you're ready.
Yeah.
So if you're currently renting and it's $1,500 a month, it may not be a good idea to purchase a home that's $3,000 a month.
Right.
So unless you can afford it, that's a whole nother question and a whole nother video. But when it's right for you, we can't control the interest rates. We can't control homeowners rates because, hey, we live in West Tennessee and there's tornadoes every now and then. But we can control or we can know when we're ready
Hmm.
and when we're ready to buy the house. So,
And when I get asked this question, I always tell my buyers, you find the house that you love, possibly your forever home,
mhm,
but you're only dating the rate. You date the rate.
yeah,
So, make sure that the numbers make sense for you, that it's affordable every month. And then a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe longer, when those interest rates fall and you're in a position, you can always refinance the house,
yeah, absolutely.
lower the payment, get a better loan product or something that's more beneficial to you for sure.
You said affordability.
Hmm.
That brings up a good question. If I have people on the fence and they're kind of scared about making a $2,000 payment and their rent's $500, I'll suggest to them, hey, for the next 3 months to make sure you are ready, take an extra $500 a month and put it in your savings account
I love that.
and just pretend like you're paying that $2,000 mortgage.
Yeah.
That way, in 3 months, you'll say, hey, that was really hard. I had to sacrifice this, this, and this. Or,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't even miss it. Now I have $1,500.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a really good idea. Um, affordability. The last question I have for you today, Samantha, is how much house can I afford? We're going to touch
So,
on
yeah.
that.
And I feel like that really is an open ended question. I talk to people a lot. They may be able to afford up here, but they're comfortable right here.
Right.
So, what you can afford versus what you're comfortable with are two different conversations. Um, I like that people ask that. And I usually ask them before I say, what kind of houses are you looking at? What interest rate? What do you want to pay per month? And then they'll tell me, hey, I'm not comfortable paying more than $1,800 a month. Cool. Then this is what you're pre approved for.
That's
So,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, that's really helpful to know like what your number is. And to find your number, I would write down all of your bills and how much you make. And then just again, go back to pretending what it would feel like to pay that monthly
Yeah.
payment for a couple of months and see if you're comfortable.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today, Samantha. If you are thinking about buying a house, you need to get pre approved first. So I will drop Samantha's contact information in the comments. And at the end of this video, please give her a call, get pre approved, and then I'll get you house hunting.